different tune, higher than a kite from letting go of these balloons. If I left you in the dust, 1,000 pardons for the fumes, but that is the result of me not arguing with fools. So on to the next one, on to the next one. It's on like it's porn and them songs make a check come. Gone till we all on a television set, but here is a scenario that I would rather set up. I would much rather see my brothers get their rest up, eat healthy for their children, learn to be investors. Stop thinking like an actor, we need more directors. So what we on projectors, that's the tip of the iceberg. Making it my life's work to change a couple lives, but we gotta win the fight first, hoping that this mic works.
Away, another day, another love song, hey. Another day, another love song, hey. Time keeps slipping away. Away, another day, another love song, hey. Another day, another love song, hey.
To whom it may concern, shouts to code for the inspiration. What I'm facing while I'm painting you this picture. This is not the gram that I can give you in an Insta. Interstellar moments all connected by this instra. Mentally superior, her mind control is Hitler. We both out of town, love what you trying to get into. You got me in a daze, body colder than the winter, but you hotter than the summer. Spring to life, I'm falling in ya. Conversation so engaging, no fiance. Dangerously in love with the thought of being Beyonce, but I ain't Jay, and this is not a Bonnie and Clyde thing. This is like a one night mommy just ride thing. This so unemotional. Say that love make it for the one you should be closer to, who's interested in holding you. This the attitude of a couple people I know though. She be on that love life, he be on that YOLO. They both want independent, but they tired of being solo. Commitment is a no-go. He just wanna stab and bounce on it like a pogo. That's how kids act when they masquerading as grown folks. Preach. And the people saying amen. All these life lessons fresh off summer vacation. Modern day epiphanies for people who be dating. Love is what they chasing, but that ain't what they making.
Away, another day, another love song, hey. Another day, another love song, hey. Time keeps slipping away. Away, another day, another love song, hey. Another day, another love song, hey.
They say that to find love from without, you must first find love from within. So here's a little story about a her and a him who were looking for love, but couldn't find it until they stopped looking externally. She works a 9 to 9, she never finds the time to attract a man to take her out and wine and dine. She's college educated, she uses her degree, her mind is elevated, but her nights are usually spent in front of a computer screen, watching romantic movie scenes of people finding fairy tale love like you do in dreams. She doesn't understand it, she thought she'd find the one by now, this isn't how she planned it. Her search is now expanded, she goes to yoga classes and learns some meditation, focused breathing techniques and rethinks her motivation. She calls her life coach, and right after the conversation, she finally sees that she's been looking in the wrong location. Calls in a reservation at her favorite restaurant, lays out a classy dress, something to feature flaunt. She doesn't have a date, but has a focused thought that she'll attract the one, then her attention's caught.
If true love is what you want, start by loving yourself at once. Inside is where the search begins. To find it in the world, it must reside within. It doesn't matter what you've been told, inner beauty is truly worth more than gold. And love attracts love, you can see this too, but that depends on the lens that you're seeing through. It's in the heart of the beholder.
What's good, what's good, what's good, y'all? Give me just a bit.
It's in the heart of the beholder. Love is in the heart of the beholder.
A perfect gentleman, He stays away from scandal. He's got a son to raise and wants to set a good example. Being a single father hasn't been the easiest. He doesn't make the kind of money a degree will get, so he goes to night school just to get the paperwork. He has no time for distraction, he's gotta make it work. Psalm 37:7 is his favorite verse. One day at church he wrote it down and put the paper in his favorite shirt. He often prayed and asked God to send a good woman, intelligent and kind-hearted, maybe good looking. He missed companionship deep down. He longed to feel the warmth of the lover's touch at dinner with the candles lit. Since his wife passed, he hadn't dated much. It took a little time, but now his heart is waking up. He called a sitter after that, puts on his favorite tux, goes to his favorite restaurant to meet with Lady Luck.
If true love is what you want, start by loving yourself at once. Inside is where the search begins. To find it in the world, it must reside within. It doesn't matter what you
What's going on? What's going on? YouTube, we are live. And I gotta say, it is great to be on our first live stream. I didn't even tell anybody we were doing this. So if you're here right now, then that means you are really rocking out with Upfront. I am, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about, but I'm excited because we have less than 10 days. What's today? The 9th? We've got a few days. We've got a few days before our Vanguard 1000 go live with our beta. So welcome. We'll get into all of that, but I'm John Graham. For those that don't know, I am the founder and CEO of Upfront Marital Technologies. The Upfront app is our first product coming out very soon, with the intent of facilitating 1 million Black marriages by 2035. We are a unique approach because we are AI powered, healing centered, dating ecosystem for single Black professionals seeking marriage. Meaning, if you are trying to play, if you are not serious about your relationship readiness, if you are out here still trying to figure out who you are in terms of your role as a spouse, as a partner, if you are still not sure about long-term healthy and sustainable relationship, this app will not be for you. We are only seeking people who are ready to ready to be in a long-term, healthy, serious, and sustainable relationship, that being marriage, and doing the work on themselves first. You can't bring your brokenness to somebody else's brokenness and expect a healing outcome. So with that stated, I definitely want to see what your thoughts are on what we're talking about. And tonight we're going to talk about something that you don't often hear. You don't see a lot of content on this. And this is really like the unseen grief, trauma, neglect of Black men and that impact on love, family, and healing. And there's a lot to be said, and this is not by any stretch minimizing the realities for Black women as well. Sisters, we know you're going through it. But I also will say that I also will say that there's very little content that gives space for Black men to express, to showcase the full range of emotions, and to not be minimized or delegitimized for it. And so while I want to focus this really on not just men's pain or men's emotional issues and traumas, really what it is it stems from a question that I've heard asked, that I've asked sisters, especially as we think about Upfront and the experience that we want to create for the sisters and the brothers on the platform. But when we were asking sisters specifically what their criteria was, who they were looking for, what were their preferences, what is it that they desired in their partner, specifically Black men, and we would get a laundry list, a criteria, right? And it was fairly common. No matter who we spoke to, we would hear very similar things. It was God fearing or God centered. We would hear, certainly financially stable, um, loving, emotionally available, emotionally intelligent. Like we would hear, of course, attractive, handsome, um, you know, or variations of the theme. But then the question that was asked thereafter was, awesome, we hear what you want, but what does the man that you have just described that meets all of that criteria, what does he want? And y'all, I've yet to hear an answer. I've yet to hear an answer from a sister when asked that question. So I would love, listen, ladies, if you're out there and you're watching this and you know the answer to that question, I would love for you to drop that in the chat, because you might be the first one in human history who will have been able to answer that question. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. But the question is, what do the men that you're describing that you want, what do they want? Do you know? If you don't know, why don't you know? Considering this is, you are describing your ideal man. I would at least know, hope that you know something about what he wants. And if you have a guy in your life that you could ask, that's a good start. And look, some brothers might not know themselves. They might not know what they're looking for specifically as well. But I'm sure that those who are self-aware, who are very clear on who they are and what they're looking for out of a long-term relationship, can answer this question for you. But I wonder, why haven't you bothered to ask? So, on that note, I want to share, this link came to me. One of my very dear friends, my partner from high school, sent this to me. We were talking, and this came across his feed. I'm gonna share the clip in just a second, and then we'll talk about it. But um, it's a clip about, well, Sherry Shepherd. So she was recently on Torre's podcast talking about um, w- um, you know her dealing with infidelity surrounding some very real life circumstances, but a revelation in conversation with her now ex-husband came about that was extremely eye-opening. I would love to get some reactions to it. So I'm gonna play this, and then we will go from there. Bear with me, y'all. It's first time. Let's see here. Here we go.
I remember my ex-husband when we talked and kind of like came to terms with being divorced. And he said it was infidelity. And he said, Sherry, I was in a place where I could hear what he said. He said, I was in so much pain because we were pregnant and had lost Jeffrey's sister. It was twins, and we had lost his sister and thought we were going to lose Jeffrey. And he said,
Before, so so they're divorced, but they're still having a conversation, and you know, tragic loss, right? Twins, and you lose one of them. I mean, that's devastating, first and foremost. I can't imagine. I have two beautiful babies. Watch both of them be born in water at home, brought into this world with the help of midwives and doulas. And that process unto itself will make you believe in a higher power. But to lose one, the amount of strain on a relationship that alone can cause, because now you have to be everything to your partner who is, to your wife who has just lost a child, right? And there is no question about that. It is not about you in any way, shape, or form. So keeping that in mind, this is a conversation that they're having.
And he said, everybody rallied around you. They want to know how you were doing and what's going on.
And that's important. You're pregnant.
I'm pregnant. But a man goes through, now.
Hold on, Torre. Hold on. Did you see how quick he jumped in, right? Without even hearing the whole statement. Hold on. But you're pregnant, right? You're pregnant. Yes, Torre, she was pregnant. Yes. Hold up. Let her cook, bro. Hold on.
Pregnant.
I'm pregnant. But a man goes through, now you're realizing, men, you may not be carrying that baby, but you're no less close to that being that you helped create.
Oh, yeah. There was a man involved. Yeah, Torre.
But you're no less close to that being that you helped create.
Yeah.
And he said, everybody rallied around you and was there and they want to pray with you. And it was all about you. And he said, nobody rallied around me. Yeah. And I had nobody to talk to about the pain. I remember my
So that's heavy. That's heavy, right? In that moment, when your wife has just lost a child, right? Delivers the other one successfully, but your wife just lost a child. Everybody rallies around her as well they should. But he, in a moment of honesty and vulnerability, it sounds like he's being honest that he did not have the support that he needed to deal with the loss of a child. Like, let's talk about it as men, where we have to be, poised in the moment of pressure, a rock in times of instability, right? A caregiver to our spouses when they're down, right? And when something as tragic as a life loss, especially that between a mother and child, as a father, when do you get to process that? How do you process that? And then where is our community as men to help deal with / process that loss? And I don't know that I don't know that exists. I mean, other than, man, hey man, like, that's terrible, man. I'm so sorry that happened to you. But the sisterhood certainly rallies around sisters and brings a level of support that I don't know that that we as men have space to offer. Now, I don't want to bury the lead here, but she did lead off by saying that there was infidelity. So the conversation then becomes, did he process that absence of support by going and seeking out and or being open to the arms of another woman, right? Not, and by no means am I saying that is the right way to have processed that hurt, that pain, because absolutely not, right? Like you've got to figure that out. You've got to talk that through. You've got to be open, right? And be available emotionally to say that you are hurting and not feeling supported and not feel like you're being selfish, which I can imagine, in some cases, for those who aren't in tune with theirs, don't know how to express that emotion in a healthy way. So I don't know the ins and outs of that story. Excuse me, that the details of their situation, their relationship, who he cheated with, why he cheated. All I'm saying is that what we don't have enough of, I think, is a place to process the hurt, the pain that we end up having to be supports for during very tough times with our families. I mean, even myself, man, I'll be honest, like when my wife lost her father a few years ago now, um, I I didn't, all I could think about was being supportive. When, when I've lost family members and just, even recently, just not thinking about my own processing, but making sure that my other loved ones are good. That's a conversation to be had around how do we process that pain of loss when we are supposed to be the supports for others, and then how does that behavior, or how does that manifest in terms of our behavior, in terms of our communication, in terms of our coping mechanisms. Are we turning up a little bit more? Are we drinking a little bit more? Are we not sleeping? Are we not being kind to our bodies? Are we not resting? What are those ways in which that processing manifests? So wanted to share that. I want to get a sense of who's here. What you think? What are your thoughts? Let's see here. Let's see, Braylon, you still with us, man? Thanks for joining. Absolutely. Who else is here? Yeah, man. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, go ahead and drop something in the chat. Let's get these likes up for sure. Yeah. So I want to um, certainly think about, and if you know any men in your lives uh, who, again, I talked about what do those men want, and that is not just in terms of what are the attributes of what that man's looking for. What does that man want in terms of how he wants to be um, received, viewed, supported, partnered with, right? I think we tend to get pigeonholed as one dimensional. Like we just want uh, food and sex, right? Uh, and I think we're a lot more complicated than that, a lot more multifaceted. In fact, I know that to be true. I know that we as men, I speak for myself for sure, certainly emotional, certainly sensitive, right? And being a Virgo, absolutely sensitive. I think it's tough when you think about how you can show those sensitivities, when you can show those sensitivities, and when you feel safe to do so. Fortunately, I've been married for 16 years, so I have no problem saying when I'm hurt, when something didn't sit well with me, or the way something was said, or maybe I'm tripping. Um, but a lot of folks don't. I know folks will just eat it and just be mad and then go off and do dumb shit as a result. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I think the question of what do men want, how do men want to be treated, and do you know? That is the question of questions right now. Do you know how the man that you want wants to be treated, what he wants out of relationship? If you're just joining us, again, I'm John Graham, host of the Upfront podcast, founder of Upfront Marital Technologies. Um, I will say this is our first live stream, and I'm happy to have you here. We'll do some promo around this, making sure you have heads up notice for the next one we do. But wanted to get this one off. I want to play another clip in just a second, but just some updates. I think when you understand that upfront is a place to heal first and love forever. Healing is a controversial topic historically for Black men because I know brothers to this day who will not go to therapy. However, I will say, that this notion of I don't want to tell people my business, they don't know me, I don't need to talk it out, right? I'll just figure it out and solve it myself. That is the mindset of some, and I think luckily we are moving to an era where men are becoming more comfortable and more confident in their healing process, and even acknowledging that they have shit to work through, right? Especially when you realize how much you deal with in the world as a black man that you may not have an outlet for, and that even starts at young ages, right? A lot of us are carrying childhood traumas, whether it's environmental, whether it's relationship in our own households, with those we know, family members, and so forth. There's a lot. Um, but the point being is that there's also, I think, a wave of brothers who are absolutely in tune and actively in therapy, ultimately working through their baggage, whether it be to improve as a professional, as a person in general, for a relationship and context of their partnerships. And I think that's amazing. And fortunately for Upfront, we are seeking those brothers who are doing the work, so that they can certainly meet sisters who are doing the work as well. And that's another whole nother conversation where, you know, we've had founder circle conversations where women and men who have signed up for early access have come uh, to a intimate circle, as it were, for conversation about the dating challenges for successful Black professionals out here in the dating market today. And the idea that the men that they're looking for will actively be in a healing process. Well, the beauty is that upfront is a 30-day mandatory healing process before you get introduced to connection. So there's no question that the men you meet will be on that journey. But the challenge that has always been asked or noted was, well, the women are going to sign up by default, right? The women are going to join this platform based on what we're providing, but how are you going to get the men? And that's a question that we continuously answer by we are positioning ourselves for the men who are ready to do the work on themselves or actively doing it already. We're not, I shouldn't say we're not concerned with, but we know we won't appeal to those who are only interested in, short-term short-term outcomes, instant gratification, or, smashing and dashing. Like that's not it. But I will say the brothers are just as interested in getting on a platform where they're meeting sisters who are doing the work. Like a lot of times we hear about how, Black men are in therapy or they're not doing their own healing journeys. Well, we've heard from plenty of brothers who love what we're doing, and they're honestly saying that they have met some women who are absolutely unstable, crazy in some cases. I'm talking restraining orders and showing up at your doorstep in the middle of the night crazy. And hey, everybody's got something going on. I get it. But brothers are seeking sisters who are doing that work on themselves as well, who admittedly have their own baggage. So I think the key here is that we are in dialogue and that we are actively honest and accountable for our own healing journeys, and we're creating that platform for people to engage in that before they get access to somebody that they're trying to do life with. Like, come on, man. So these um these social streets. So if y'all follow Upfront, and I hope you do, on not only on YouTube but ultimately on Instagram and TikTok, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. But if you follow our IG or our TikTok, you'll have seen some clips from the Upfront podcast, and we had a brother on named Dr. Obari Cartman, who absolutely dropped jewelry when it comes to the work that he does. He's a licensed psychologist. He's an active advocate for Black community restoration and advancement. He does a lot of work with young Black men, both at risk and in the prison system or in the penal system. And some of the gems that he was dropping were just, I mean, just beyond. Like I'm gonna play a couple of clips and we can talk about it, but this one I think is important to discuss because oftentimes we hear this statement of I want a Black man who's emotionally available and intelligent. And Dr. Obari had some bars for that one. So let's get into it. Doo, doo, doo.
We struggle with that. Me and my partner struggle with that. I was
Mm.
always wondering, like, in my mind, the way that I express myself, my openness, whether it's texting or talking, I'm sharing all my feelings and all of that. And she was like, no, you necessarily want all that in that way. It was off-putting at first.
Sure, sure.
And I've had that experience. I've had that experience where like they don't want to hear all that. And so I think that if women are asking for emotional availability, they need to be prepared that we have bottled up a lot and that those of us that have the words for it are eager to share, but we also listen for and look for moments when it's too much or overbearing, and then we can very easily withdraw.
So listen, you say you want an emotionally available man, but what if he's overly emotionally available? Like how what is the
Yeah.
tipping point on emotional availability and when, right? So like if he opens up and expresses right how he's feeling and you're like, hold on, that's that's too much. You soft like, oh yeah, that's a risk. That's a risk that brothers could run by being emotionally expressive too soon. Too soon. So like what is that what is that threshold of like, okay, I want emotional availability. Does that mean from like first date forward? Does that mean like first DM conversation? Like when do you want emotional availability? When is it okay for a man to be fully emotionally expressive? And not just in the context of anger, right? Or hurt or fear, right? Like even just positive emotions, or when he's sad, when something didn't go well and he doesn't know what to do about it. But like when do those emotions and that availability, or are we only talking about emotional availability in the context of listening to your issues and problems? And that's also something I've heard, right? That's in conversations we've had with some of our early access members is, I want him to be emotionally available for me. And that's something to be said, right? Is this a two-way street? Is emotional availability okay for him to be emotionally expressive as well? Are you ready to handle that? Right? Especially for a man who has gone through our healing district and has access now to tools and experiences that have helped him open up or unfold a bit more. If he finds you to be the safe space to flex those that emotional range, to be forthright in how he's feeling, are you ready to handle that? And do you have the emotional wherewithal to deal with that? I mean, sometimes it might feel foreign because you've not dealt with a man who is emotionally expressive or in tune with the range of his emotions and able to articulate that. I would love to hear from sisters who are watching in the comments. What does that look like for you? Have you dealt with an emotionally available man and it was kind of a lot? Did it did it hit different? You're like, wait, I know I asked for it, but maybe not. Maybe that was too much too soon. Like what does that look like, brothers? I definitely want to hear. Have you ever, just been, maybe it's still young in the relationship, still a little new, and you found that you got comfortable and let some of the emotions slip, and she was like, ugh, you soft. No, man up. And you just tuck that shit away. Like, what? Maybe that's what's the case of that, right? Um, I, we talked to, we had another brother on the podcast, and we'll play this clip in just a second, but my guy Troy Parrish talked about this as well. And there's a lot to be said. I just gotta be honest. We do not hear a lot of these perspectives, and this is why I'm kind of showing y'all a different version of black men on YouTube that you might not see in your daily scrolls, right? You might hear the overconfident, hyper masculine, you know what I'm saying? The hunter, the wise, you know, uh, the wise brother who's got the confidence and all that stuff. But what about the other side, right? The side that you say you want but may not see on the regular. Let's see what that looks like here. But so we got my guy Troy talking about emotional availability. So when I hear sisters saying they want an emotionally available man, I'm saying, well, who made them?
Yeah. And then you do find one, he's called Sassy.
You just gonna be emotionally regulated?
Yeah, you
Sassy
want to be
ass.
you want to be the woman now. Okay. You want princess treatment.
Right, right. And look, that's a great point. And there is a conversation about, are you ready for an emotionally available man? Right. Because if you've never encountered it, it's gonna feel different. It's
And
gonna
every
feel
time
real
I
different.
tried to be emotional, woman was like, all right, nigga, God, I ain't got time for this today. I'm like, all right, let me just shut my bitch ass up here.
Right.
You know what? Now I'm just gonna go back to not talking. Why you ain't saying that?
Can't win.
Like,
Can't
all
win.
right, now you trolling me, right?
So when I hear sisters saying they want an emotionally available, I'm just gonna shut my bitch ass up. And then she's like, "Why you not talking? Why you not talking to me?" He's like, "What? What? Come on!" Like that's wild to me, but it's real. It is real. So I mean, the question remains. When is a man's emotional availability too much? When is the right time for this brother to express those full range of emotions without being penalized for it, in which case, that could lead to him not showing up again, not just for you but for somebody down the road, you know um so I want that conversation to sort of hang in the air for a bit. Y'all can drop comments, and we'll get to them for sure. But sisters, look, we're bringing brothers who are out here doing this work on themselves, right? Troy, in his own journey, an amazing content creator who had a series called My Abstinent Life, where he literally just pulled out the game. No pun intended. He got out the game, um, to work on himself, right? To really make sure that he was right within, to stop, having all of these situationships, because, he was not short on that, but he was missing love from that. And, all of that to say, really dope episode. I hope that y'all check out the episodes in full, because the folks that we've had on there are just a wealth of knowledge, experience, perspective, whether single, married, divorced, out here looking for love again, all of those things. So check those out. I'm gonna get up out of here, y'all. I think this is a good start, but Really appreciate those who did tune in. If you're catching this on the back end, you can always comment and we keep the conversation going. If you are not following, subscribed, liking, all of that good stuff, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for sure. We're going to bring some more conversations, even some guests. We have some married couples that we're going to be bringing through in our mentorship district content, and some of our other friends, partners in the journey of building Upfront and bringing Upfront to the world on live stream. So we look forward to doing more of these and engaging with y'all in the commentary. But until then, again, I'm John Graham, and I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Peace. Take care of yourselves. Be wonderful, be beautiful, be great. We'll catch you next time.
Love is in the heart of the beholder. It's in the heart of the beholder. Love is in the heart of the beholder, yeah.
She's sitting patiently, her heart begins to race. She checks her makeup in the mirror just to play it safe. She sees a gentleman across from her who's nicely dressed. He doesn't seem to have a date from what she could assess. He sees the woman looking at him as he waits for service. He responds with a smile, although he's feeling nervous. The dress she's wearing lets him know that she is fully grown.